Ni na kawo ta nan? Wancan kamar a can fahimci. Okay. Tana can. Ana ma tana cin dambun nan. Assalamu alaikum. So I don't know if someone is speaking. Zara, have you? I think you can start. Zara, are you there? Sorry, please, someone should confirm if they can hear me.
We can hear you, sir.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone.
So is someone reciting?
No one is reciting, sir.
Okay, that's fine. So Zara, are you there?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. You can start, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لقد رضي الله عن المؤمنين إذ يبايعونك تحت الشجرة فعلم ما في قلوبهم فأنزل السكينة عليهم وأثابهم فتحا قريبا ومغانم كثيرة يأخذونها وكان الله عزيزا حكيما وعدكم الله مغانم كثيرة تأخذونها فعجل لكم هذه وكف أيدي الناس عنكم ولتكون آية للمؤمنين ويهديكم صراطا مستقيما وأخرى لم تقدروا عليها قد أحاط الله بها وكان الله على كل شيء قديرا ولو قاتلكم الذين كفروا لولوا الأدبار ثم لا يجدون وليا ولا نصيرا سنة الله التي قد خلت من قبل ولن تجد لسنة الله تبديلا وهو الذي كف أيديهم عنكم وأيديكم عنهم ببطن مكة من بعد أن أظفركم عليهم وكان الله بما يعملون بصيرا هم الذين كفروا وصدوكم عن المسجد الحرام والهدي معكوفا أن يبلغ محله ولولا رجال مؤمنون ونساء مؤمنات لم تعلموهم أن تطؤوهم فتصيبكم منهم معرة بغير علم ليدخل الله في رحمته من يشاء لو تزيلوا لعذبنا الذين كفروا منهم عذابا أليما إذ جعل الذين في قلوبهم الحمية حمية الجاهلية فأنزل الله سكينته على رسوله وعلى المؤمنين وألزمهم كلمة التقوى وكانوا أحق بها وأهلها وكان الله بكل شيء عليما لقد صدق الله رسوله الرؤيا بالحق لتدخلن المسجد الحرام إن شاء الله آمنين محلقين رؤوسكم ومقصرين لا تخافون فعلم ما لم تعلموا فعجل لتدخلن المسجد الحرام إن شاء الله آمنين محلقين رؤوسكم ومقصرين لا تخافون فعلم ما لم تعلموا فجعل من دون ذلك فتحا قريبا هو الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا محمد رسول الله والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم تراهم ركعا سجدا يبتغون فضلا من الله ورضوانا سيماهم في وجوههم من أثر السجود ذلك مثلهم في التوراة ومثلهم في الإنجيل كزرع أخرج شطأه فآزره فاستغلظ فاستوى على سوقه يعجب الزراع ليغيظ بهم الكفار وعد الله الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات منهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما
حسبك بارك الله فيك. Jazakumullah khairan. That was a wonderful recitation from Hafiza Fatima Zara from Department of Chemistry, Ahmad Bello University. She's now in her final year. I believe, yeah, in her final year, and part of the mentees of BFS. So Jazakumullah khairan for the wonderful recitation. Inshallah, we'll be starting the program proper. Now I can see the host, Engineer Salim Dauda, is with us. I believe he will be sharing the screen now and is going to take over to start the program proper. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Walaikum assalam wa
عليكم
rahmatullahi wa
السلام ورحمة
barakatuh.
الله وبركاته.
Thank you very much, Engineer Service, for that. Please, can you confirm if you can hear me?
Naam, go ahead, sir. We can hear you.
Thank you. And can you also confirm if you can see my screen?
Sure, it's clear here.
All right. Once again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another session, another webinar under the Zuhra Educational Foundation Built from Scratch Mentorship Program. Today's webinar, inshallah, is titled Zero to Success, Job Applications, Rejections, and Career Breakthroughs. Our last webinar was also a similar topic, but was focused on scholarship application. Today we're touching the job aspect, the professional aspect of the career. So as students and recent graduates, which make basically comprise of all our mentees, one of the biggest transition students and recent graduate phase is moving from the academic life into the professional world. While a lot of people focus heavily on obtaining qualifications and other certifications, there is no doubt that that's not the only factor that determines one's success in today's labor market. So one needs a robust understanding of how you can effectively present yourself to employers and how one should navigate the job application process. Many candidates are basically capable, but they miss out on opportunities despite their immense potential. This mainly because of some candidates struggle in finding opportunities, others struggle in tailoring their application to align with what the job requires, others lack understanding of what recruiters expect, or some people basically take rejections in the negative way. So today's webinar is designed to address these challenges. We're going to discuss how to approach job applications and how to prepare strong application documents and how to turn rejection into a tool for growth and improvement rather than something that will impair your progress. So the webinar is divided into two complementary sessions. In our first session, we'll focus on how to move from having little to no experience with job applications to becoming a prepared and competitive applicant. And the second session will focus on what happens after applications are submitted, particularly when the outcomes is not what you expect. Basically, when the outcome is a rejection. Following both sessions, we will have an interactive Q&A section as usual. Without taking much time, we're going to move into the first session, which is from zero to job application. Our first speaker will lead us through this session, and our speaker is Engineer Abdul Basit Bashir Yaro. Engineer Abdul Basit holds a Bachelor of Engineering in Electrical Engineering from Ahmadu Bello University. He also holds a Master's of Engineering in Electrical and Electronics Engineering from Nile University of Nigeria. Professionally, he currently serves as an operations and maintenance engineer with the NNPC Gas Infrastructure Company. He has previously worked as a design engineer with Western Solar. He has immense experience in job applications. He has apologies for that. Can you still hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, apologies for that. As I was saying, Engineer Abdul Basit has immense experience in job applications. His experience spans both technical and the professional environment, and it places him in an excellent position to share his insights on job searching applications and career development. So without further ado, I would like to hand over to Engineer to take us through the first session of the webinar. Over to you, Engineer.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم
Please
السلام ورحمة الله.
can you confirm that I can be heard and my screen can be seen?
Naam, you are audible and your screen is visible.
Okay, thank you very much. Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. My name is Abdul Basit Bashiriru, and as the moderator mentioned, I'm an electrical engineer, and okay, yeah, and I think there's an echo somewhere. Salim, can you please confirm if okay? I think it's okay now.
Yeah, it's okay now.
Right, thank you. And I'm genuinely excited to be speaking with you all tonight. So today's session is called or is titled "From Zero to Job Application," and this is deliberately chosen because we know that for a lot of you, the job application process can feel overwhelming sometimes. And sometimes maybe you do not know where to look. Maybe you've written your CV, but you're not sure if it's good enough. Maybe you've also have applied to a few places and have had nothing back. And you're probably starting to wonder what you are doing wrong. So if that sounds like you, this is the right session to be. So without further ado, let's get into it. So here's a quick look at what we'll cover. We will start with an overview of the job market in Nigeria, of course, and what will actually help you to stand out. Then we'll talk about where you will find opportunities, right, in the job market. And then we'll go into knowing how to decode job descriptions, basically. And we'll get into CVs and cover letters, right? Because especially for the CV, that's where the most important information for recruiters lie. So, and then we'll go into application strategies, and lastly, we'll get into how to network effectively. So, yeah, going to the overview. The job market is very competitive. I don't think that's new for anyone. So, and the statistics say that 1.7 million graduates enter the Nigerian job market every year. And this is against very limited positions in the job market. So this is the context of what every job applicant or every recent graduate from university is getting into. I'm not telling you this to discourage you, but I'm telling you this to prepare you for what lies ahead. So how do you actually get in, right? In the Nigerian formal private sector context, of course, we know, or let me say, graduate recruitment majorly follows a specific pattern, right? You apply, you get invited for assessments, you write assessments, and then you go ahead to do interviews, and after that, if you are successful, you get an offer, right? So, okay, let's get into it bit by bit. So, firstly, you submit your application, right? What this means is they check your application against a certain criteria to see if you are qualified for the role. That's basically what happens between the first stage and the second stage, right? So after screening to see if you are the qualified candidate for the role, you get into the next stage, the assessment and interviews, and then finally the offer. So the essence of this session is basically to make you go from the first stage to the third stage, preferably from the first stage to the third stage. And I said this because we want you to know how to tailor your applications so that you never get rejections between the first and third stage, right? So that's basically what this session is about. So let's dive into the crux of the matter. How do you find opportunities, right? And there are websites, of course, job hunting websites like Jobberman and Hot Nigerian Jobs. These are websites that have, I think, over the years, been very helpful to the Nigerian in the Nigerian job markets, right? So once you get into one of these websites, you can basically search for jobs, for opportunities, and yeah, it has proven to be helpful over time. But of course, things are changing. I will talk about that also. And of course, LinkedIn is one of the world's, or is the leading job markets, or should I say, or social media in the world. And on LinkedIn, you can find various opportunities. You can literally find opportunities that just match to your profile, or you can search for opportunities that you are looking for on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a very, very helpful tool for job applications as well. I know that you've covered this as well in the previous session about CVs and the rest. So this is kind of an overlap as well. And something I would also mention is your with cold emails. There's something called cold emails. Cold emails are emails basically that are unsolicited, that you send to prospective companies that you'd want to work at. And so in the email, you basically tell them your profile, what you can offer them, and if you are successful, you may get a positive reply. This helps. This works because I've gone through this, right, and it has been helpful for me in the previous job application. So I wrote a cold email and I was successful. So so this is to tell you that these things work, but of course, it's not a one size fits all. It's not every company that you may miss it, like you may email and get a reply. This majorly works in probably smaller companies that do not have a structured recruitment process, kind of. So that's what I would say on cold emails. So there's another aspect of where to find opportunities, which is probably social media and leveraging community connections and the rest. So number one social media that I would suggest is X, or formerly known as Twitter. It has proven in recent times to be where people see job opportunities. I mean, they are dedicated individuals that are known to be posting job opportunities or scholarship opportunities. So I would say that I would implore every one of us here to look, or to really, really consider following up for job opportunities on these social media platform. And then we know that there are also WhatsApp and Telegram groups and channels that are like dedicated for posting opportunities in Nigeria. And one thing I would mention here is I would encourage so many of us here to form groups amongst like minds. So, for example, 5 friends that just finished university, maybe in a set, can come together and say, okay, how do you help ourselves in finding opportunities? So you can create a WhatsApp group dedicated for that. You can be sharing job opportunities. You can also be helping each other, maybe in job aptitude tests, in knowing how to solve tests and the rest. I think that's a really helpful way of using these platforms. And then, of course, you can get referrals from family and friends. This majorly stems from the connections one builds and networking over the years, right? So, yeah, referrals from friends and family can really help one in also securing jobs. And lastly, although this is not really popular here in Nigeria, but there are certain companies that do career fairs. I know of Huawei in recent times. So you can leverage some of these fairs and find opportunities in them. So there are certain sectors, these opportunities cut across so many sectors in Nigeria, right? So in banking, we know that so many banks do a yearly recruitment, especially for graduate roles, right? So always be on the lookout for that. In the oil and gas sector also, especially in recent times, like I can see, I don't think there's been 2 months or 1 month will pass that you would not see an oil and gas opportunity, right? So there has been a resurgence in the oil and gas space in Nigeria. And then the FMCG space as well. These are companies like Coca-Cola, Indomie, Boa Foods, and the rest. They also recruit on a consistent basis. And then going on to manufacturing, these are companies like the Dangote Cements, Boa Cement, and the rest, manufacturing companies. You have big four consulting firms. I know that the big four consulting firms recruit on a yearly basis, right? So the big four, for those of us that do not know, the PwC, Deloitte, E&Y, and KPMG. So I know that these firms recruit on a yearly basis, and you should always be on the lookout for that. And they do not discriminate against some courses. All courses can apply and get. And then there's the telecoms industry as well. These are companies like MTN, Glo, IHS Towers, and the rest. And then you have NGOs as well. So, so we are getting into the interesting part of the presentation. So now, once you find a job posting, how you read it actually matters a lot more than most people realize, right? And a typical job description has a few parts. There's the role title, and this tells you basically the level you would be at in the organization. So it could be the junior level, mid-level, or managerial level, right? But for so many of us here in this meeting, I think we mostly qualify for the entry roles, which is the graduate role. So automatically, if you say managerial role, you know that you may not be eligible, right? So how knowing which jobs we are eligible for is the first step, or is half of your journey, right? So, and then we have the responsibility section. This tells you what you actually be doing day to day, right? And you should always read this very carefully, because it's the clearest signal of what the company actually wants from you, right? And then there's the required skills. These are like the must-haves. You must have this. So if you do not have these skills, it's not advisable for you to go on with the job application because it's a required skill, right? And then the desired skills are like maybe your chance to stand out. So it is when you hear things like so is an advantage. It's not a must, but it's an advantage. So yeah, this is one of the things you see in the job description. So, and also in the job description, you also see things about the company culture and values. So knowing how to tailor your application around the company values and culture also helps a lot. So how do you actually tailor your application? Using the job description, right? So you should use the exact words from the job description and use them in your CV, right? So many, let's be honest, many companies do not really read every letter in your CV. So they skim through. So knowing how to pick out words from the job description and putting them into context in your CV will really give you an advantage. And going on, you should know how to match your experience to each responsibility. So if they say, how do I, okay, let me bring this example. Design in the job description, I know how to design using AutoCAD, for example, and you know how to design using AutoCAD. So you can include it in your previous experience, something along knowing how to use AutoCAD, right? That's what I mean. And then you should always quantify your achievements. Always quantify your achievements. Never say something that is generic, or you should always put numbers to your achievements. We'll talk about this in the next slide. And then I also mentioned this before. Research the company and tailor your application around their values. This helps a lot. We'll also talk more on this later on. So, and please cut anything that is not relevant to the role. It's very important to keep your application concise. I'm talking about the CV here, or maybe the cover letter. Make sure that everything that is in your CV is relevant to the role that you're applying to. So on this slide, we'll talk about how to build your CV. On the right, we have things that you should do, and on the left, you have things that you should do, and on the right, we have things that you should not do, please. So number one, right, keep your CV to 1 or 2 pages. I'm saying this because this is especially relevant for graduate roles, right? For entry-level roles, they do not expect you to have a ton of experience. So keep your CV as concise as possible and remove everything irrelevant. I know that Nigerians like achievements. They like including achievements in their CVs, but then not all achievements are relevant. And putting so many irrelevant things in your CV could also be a red flag. It could put off the recruiter, right? So please keep your CV concise as possible. You should start each bullet points with a strong action verb. What I mean by this is you should use words like led, designed, delivered. You should avoid generic things or passive things like passive phrases like saying was involved in the launch or tasked with duties included. These are all things that are passive. You should start each bullet with a strong action verb. It's very important. And I mentioned this earlier. You should quantify your results, right? You should always put a number or how you improved a process, for example. So you can say increased sales by 30%. Instead of just saying was responsible for sales, right? these are tricks that you can use to help your application. And please always tailor your application for every application, right? Try and tailor your application. It's very important because using one generic CV or cover letter, for example, will just be a ton of. You have to tailor your application for every job application that you are doing. It's very important. And please use consistent formatting as well. Your CV should be neat. It should follow a specific pattern that will be very pleasing to the eyes, right? It helps a lot. And do include links. Include links to your LinkedIn profile, maybe your documents, your GitHub, if that's relevant to you as well. I know that you've covered a session on CV, so let me not dwell on this. So to the please do not include your photos, your age, your state of origin or marital status. I know that, especially in Nigeria, we like to include these things, but they are not really relevant, to be very honest, especially in the private sector. They aren't relevant at all. They may even count against you because if the person that's reading your CV has a bias and sees that you are from a particular state or whatever, it can count against you. So please do not include your personal details, especially if you're applying to the private sector. And please avoid generic objectives. Hardworking team player, can work under pressure. What you include must show that you are impactful. So how does you being hardworking result into impact, right? That's what you are showing in your CV. So saying things that are generic, or I have leadership skills, or things like that, they do not speak good at all of you. So always put it in a way that shows impacts. So how does your leadership skill show like impact, or how did it improve a process, right? That's what they want to see. And okay, this is along the same line. Don't list duties without showing impacts. Just like I said, always show impact. Always show how it is impactful. And don't use excessive colors, tables, or graphics. Your CV should be as clean and neat as possible. No need for excessive coloring or graphics. And I mentioned this earlier, always tailor your CV for every employer, every time. Do not send generic CVs. And I also mentioned this, please do not include irrelevant or outdated experience. It only counts against you. So we jump into the cover letter, right? And I like to think of the cover letter as relevant, especially in the Nigerian context, in two ways. There are jobs that expressly ask for your cover letters, but I think they are in the minority, especially for graduate roles. They expressly ask for your cover letters, so that's, of course, automatically helpful. But then there are jobs that ask you to attach your CV in an email, for example. And what a lot of people do is just to attach the CV or other documents that they may ask for, and just write, please find attached or something like that. That's not what they want, or that's not what's expected. You are expected to also attach your cover letter, like in the body of the email, right? So yeah, that's how the cover letter context applies. And I like to think of the cover letter in three parts. So your opening, which should state the role that you're applying for and where you saw it. And doing that, you should hook the reader either with your strongest relevant qualification or with a genuine specific reason to why you are applying for whatever you're applying for. So it shouldn't be generic. It shouldn't be something generic. Let me give you an example. You could say, And a generic example would be, I'm very passionate about this company and I cannot wait to start, or I cannot wait for the opportunity to start working at this company. But then a specific reason would be, I followed a recent project of yours and I'm passionate about this, and this is what I did before around these projects. You know, something just to connect your background to what they are doing specifically, not something generic. That's how to get noticed, right? And then the second part, which is the body, I feel like this is where the real work is. You can match 2 or 3 requirements that are in the job description to your experience using specific examples and outcomes. And this is also where you can mirror the company's values and culture. So you can write this paragraph with the values of the company that you're applying to in mind. So like, I mean, what I mean by values is like, if a company is very big on, I mean, so many companies write their values on their website, for example, but like his values like maybe integrity, safety, excellence, these are all values that companies write or that companies have. So you should know how to tailor your body, the body of your cover letter around the company values. And then, so I mean, and the body should maybe be 2 paragraphs, 2 to 3 paragraphs maximum, 3 paragraphs maximum, right? And then you have your closing paragraph, which reiterates basically your enthusiasm and fit for the role, and that's where you state your availability for an interview. So if you take nothing away from this slide, take this. Every sentence in your cover letter should answer the basic question: why should we hire you for this role? That's what you are trying to do with your cover letter. So, and we go into how to like strategies like or tips in job applications. Like I mentioned earlier, tailored applications every time. So it is the quality of your application over number of applications that you send. So we find so many people saying, okay, I've applied for so many roles and I've never heard back from them. And then maybe it's a time to step back and check whether you're actually putting in a good job application, right? So make sure your application has quality, not just send every application, like every opening that you see, just send CV without checking to see whether, or to tailor your CV, your cover letter, and the overall application for that particular role. And the second tip I would have for us is to apply early. Applying early reduces the chances of maybe the company's websites failing around the deadline, God forbid, right? So by applying early, you tend to avoid all the deadline rushes. But I would say, even in applying early, we should be cautious. And I would like to advise that maybe from the time that we are seeing a job application, we should probably give 1 day. We'll have a funny story from this time that I applied for Shell, right? So I had been waiting for Shell to open the application, and immediately I saw the application, I just ran and started applying and just applied within minutes. It was after I applied that I remembered seeing them saying we should like our NYC certificates needed to be attached to our CV, and I had totally forgotten. So that was how I think I was screened out without even going to the next stage. I think I was automatically screened out by the system. So yeah, we should apply early, but we should be very cautious as well. And that brings me to my third point, which is to follow instructions exactly. like just make sure to go over the instructions. It is by not following instructions that you miss a step or you submit without submitting a required document and the like. So make sure to follow the instructions exactly. And then finally, you should always confirm that your application has been sent. Check for confirmation emails from after applying. Check that a confirmation email has been dropped in your email. And so yeah, that brings me to the end of the my tips for job application. And so we go into networking and connections, right? And there's a saying, it's not just what you know, it's who knows what you know. Not the popular Nigerian saying of it's not what you know, it's who you know. No, but like the person that knows you also has to know what you know, right? That's what it means. So with this, we can leverage LinkedIn, for example. And what I mean by leveraging LinkedIn is, okay, I know that LinkedIn, you just send connections to everyone, but being strategic about your connections is really important. And I would give a hypothetical example. So assuming you applied for a role in a company, and then you found out that one of your maybe seniors in school, right, in your department works in that company. So if you have a connection on LinkedIn with that person, you can maybe start up a conversation around how the interview process in the company is like. And you never know what help can come out of that, right? So make sure you leverage on LinkedIn connections. Very, very important. And as well, share your work. Share your work on LinkedIn, your projects, your learnings, your wins. You never know. You never know who is looking, and you may get an opportunity out of maybe a work that you shared on LinkedIn, right? And finally, you should attend industry events. You also never know who you meet in these industry events. So for engineers, for example, in NSC conferences, you never know what can come out of those experiences. So tracking applications. This is just a sample of how you can track up your applications. I can see that my time has probably been spent. So this is just like a simple example of how you can track applications. I know that especially for graduates, you tend to send so many applications, and they can feel overwhelming sometimes. So you can leverage on tools like Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets. I mean, there are other tools, but these are the most accessible, I would feel like, for so many people. So you can basically do a simple, uh, create a simple sheet around something like this. Maybe when you applied for the role, the current stage you're at, what the next step is, what the deadline of the application is, and the rest, right? So it's very important to track your applications to know what stage you are at for each application. So we are coming to the end of the presentation, and your key takeaways. What I would like for you to take away from this presentation is that know that there are real opportunities in the job market. There are opportunities, right? Don't listen to naysayers that say, "Oh, there are no jobs." There are jobs, but it just depends on how prepared you are for the job market, right? And always be intentional about customizing your applications. Avoid generic applications. Um, tailor your CV, tailor your cover letter, tailor your overall application for every role that you're applying for, and understand the role or what the employers are asking for, right? So, and also be consistent. be consistent and always believe that your effort will yield fruits, right? So do not ever give up. Do not say that, okay, I've applied to 10 places and none of them has been positive. Just stay consistent and always improve on every application. And I would assure you that there will come a time where you would bear fruits from all those times that you have been applying. So my action, your action plan, I would want each one of you to apply for one graduate role or opportunity or an internship also, right? From our discussion on in this session, from all that we've talked about in this session, apply for at least one internship, graduate role opportunity. Update your CV using our discussion today, draft or improve your cover letter. Of course, build the application tracker that we talked about. Identify one weakness in your applications and implement an improvement before your next submission. Before your next submission. And I promise you that your application would start yielding fruits, inshallah. So in closing, I would want to leave you with this. Every single person you've seen that is employed today started exactly where you are at. Uncertain, maybe a little anxious. The only difference between where you are and where they are is preparation, basically, right? So you've got what it takes, and good luck to everyone. I don't know whether we'll take questions now or maybe till after the entire presentation by the second speaker.
Thank you very much, Engineer Abdul Basit, for that very insightful presentation. Whether you're a student, a recent graduate, or even someone that's a few years ahead in your career, I'm sure you're going to benefit a lot from this presentation. Particularly, I find the aspect about networking very, very important, especially where I currently work at. I've seen how leveraging networks have given people, new opportunities. I've seen how people secure highly paid roles mainly because of the kind of people they interact with. Even for the organization itself, most of the clients we interact with are kind of people that basically we engage them using networks of the executives in that organization. So a few years into your career, you're going to understand, especially for experienced hires, networking plays a very, very critical role in that. Another key message from the discussion is that submitting application is only one part of the journey. Finding opportunities, understanding employer requirements, and tailoring your documents and staying organized all contribute significantly to a successful application. However, even strong candidates can get rejections. In fact, I would say rejection is one of those few experiences that almost every successful professional has in common. For you to be successful, you have to fail at some point. But what separates those who are successful from others is often not the absence of rejection, but your ability to learn, adapt, and improve when you're facing setbacks. So our next session will focus on understanding why candidates get rejected and how they can use those experiences as stepping stones towards future success. I will share my screen again, and while we move into the next session. So for the next session, our second speaker will lead this. Our speaker for this session is Muntaka Adam Idris. Muntaka holds a Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. He's also currently pursuing his MBA in Finance and Investment, also at ABU. He's a chartered accountant through ICANN, and also he holds the globally recognized Financial Modeling and Valuation Analyst certification from the Corporate Finance Institute. He has spent 3 years with Deloitte, one of the big four firms, where he gained audit experiences across multiple industries before now moving to his current role as a procurement officer with the NNPC. His experience across these organizations and working with them gives him a valuable perspective on what distinguishes successful applicants from the unsuccessful ones. And without further ado, I would like to hand over to Muntaka Adam Idris to take us through the next session. It's a pleasure to have you, sir. Over to you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Salim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Please, can you confirm you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Please bear with me. I have a catarrh, I think, for the past 3 days. So my voice might not be as it's supposed to be, but please bear with me.
Yeah, that's fine. Sorry about that. You're actually audible. Thank you.
Okay, let me share my screen. All right. So can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can
we
hear
can
you and
hear
see
you,
your
sir.
screen.
All right. Good evening once again. Thank you for the quick introduction. As earlier mentioned, my name is Muntaka Adam. I'm a graduate of biochemistry from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. I'm currently a procurement officer with NNPC Gas Marketing Limited. So I'm going to take us on job rejection review and improvement. As we all know, as Salim mentioned, rejection happens not because you are weak or not because you are not good enough. And as you can hear from Abdul Basit, it just take him a simple misinformation. He forgot to attach what an employer says. Sometimes you will have everything, but because you are in rush or maybe adrenaline rush, you might forget to miss a certain thing. And that could lead to your application being missed along the way. There are certain things that you could have sit back and look thorough. You could have identified the mistakes that will avoid that rejection from coming. However, when you try your best and you still got rejected, it's not the end of the world. All of us have been rejected one time or the other. So personally, before joining Deloitte, I don't know anything about Big Four. I think just a short story. When I was serving in Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, there was a time one military officer asked us that I'm in biochemistry, so when I went to serve there, they now send me to hospital to serve in the lab. So being there, they now tell us that, okay, you guys study biochemistry, microbiology. The people that study medical lab science, they saw that we don't belong to the lab. And everyone was even telling us that this course that you study, what value do you even have? Sometimes we have a thorough a discussion with one colonel. Then I went back to sit down and think about myself. So where can I be with my degree? Okay, I just finished this course. Does that mean that I just wasted 4 years? I've been to SBRS, do remedials, came to ABU, spent almost 5 years doing one thing, and at the end of the day, someone will just tell you that your course is irrelevant. But I do not feel rejected. I do not feel that my course is useless or feel like I don't have what it takes, because I know that I can see a medical doctor there. It's not because he's better than me. There was someone that he's from Yobe, I'm from Bauchi. So in SBRS, I have more points than him. I used to tutor him in physics, chemistry, but unfortunately, he got MBBS and I got biochemistry. From there, I believe that it doesn't mean that that person that is that doing that MBBS that I wanted to do is better than me. But why? Maybe God have a plan for me, or there is something better that God has it. So why am I telling you this? That you feel rejected, you feel discouraged, but don't allow those negative say to bring you down. Don't allow them to make you feel less of yourself, or you do not fit in. All of us as professionals, before we reach where we are, we face that rejection one time. Just imagine you stumble upon a job application, you attended webinars, you tailor your CV, you do everything that you know of. You've been to so many webinars, you learn, you tailor your CV, you use AI, take the job description, tailor your cover letter. You might do everything correctly, do everything right, and you might still get rejected. But sometimes you just need to go back and ask yourself, or look for a feedback. Why did I get rejection? Why do I get that thank you email? So you will receive a lot of, if you are job hunting, you will receive a lot of, we regret to inform you, thank you for applying this. But sometimes some people, you'll see that they'll keep applying with the same CV, the same approach. When you retain the same approach in doing what you are doing, don't expect that you are going to get different results. So what we are going to address today is, what can you do differently in case you miss an opportunity in your university days, or there is certain things that you apply in your life, not only job application, that you were not successful. When you're applying for a similar opportunity, what did you do differently? When you get rejected in the first place, what did you learn? So firstly, what does rejections really happen? So I just take some common that are similar to job applications. So, but although I do not capture mostly for entries level, most entry levels like Big Four, which I know I've applied to so many Big Four, KPMG, Deloitte, EY, all of them. What they usually do, they don't need your CV, you don't need your cover letter. You just have an application with a link that you follow, you apply everything. In such scenarios, you don't need CV. But what you should do is you should be very careful. Make sure that you read the requirement very well and understand. Fill the right thing. Make sure you upload what is needed. Make sure you have, and where you have an opportunity that they ask you about something, try your best to see that you read as much as you could to convince that person that is reviewing your the application, to see that yes, you are that one person they need out of 1,000 people. If if you think you have first class in engineering where they need civil engineer, you will see that there are other 1 million engineers that have the same first class. They have the same skills, they have different things, but there must be something that will make you stand out. Sometimes you have an opportunity to tell your employer those things. Sometimes you won't have the opportunities. Mostly the opportunities comes when you cannot say them, that you cannot see. For instance, you are applying and in the job application, they now ask you, what project have you done before? So just that simple question is an opportunity for you to sell yourself, how you construct the sentence, how you tell your story. That's what really matters. How you tell your stories. Okay, this is what you do. You involve in this, and as Abdul Basit have earlier mentioned, you have to quantify. You have to give a measurable impact of your skills. Okay, let's for instance a simple thing. You are a good you are good with just PowerPoint presentation. You should be able to tell your employer that this is what you did with that skill and this is the impact it has. For anything that your skill does to you, you're supposed to be able to tell the story and be able to say the impact that your skill have done somewhere that you've done. You might think mostly for a graduate trainee, you don't need those things, but it's an opportunity for you to if you have a skill, it's an opportunity for you to sell yourself. During my interview when I was joining Deloitte, my partner interview, what he asked me is not something out of place. So is a unionism. When I was in ABU, I was part of NALIS, and they gave me Auditor General as a compensation for losing a position of, I think, faculty chairman or something like that. So they just gave me that position to compensate me. And I do not know. I just included that thing in my CV, Auditor General NALIS 2018 to 2019. And I think that was what makes my CV being picked, because that keyword audit was there. And when I was interviewed, he asked me, I saw that you were an auditor. What did you do? I just laughed because actually I didn't do it. There was nothing audit as about Auditor General. But you know how school unionism is. There's nothing audit. When I get to know what audit is, I know that what we did back then is not an audit. But what? That keyword was there. So first, before anybody will see your CV pass through softwares. You apply electronically. I think 10 years back, maybe you might hear someone telling you that they used to submit CV physically, people review. Like there was a day one of my ogas was telling me that in 2005, when they joined NMPC, they used to send their CVs in Ghana must go. They will now bring them and put them into towers that they will just pick at random. They pick, if God chooses you, they will just pick. But today, it's not that. There's no that random selection again. It passed through ATS system. So what do you need? You need to make sure that your CV is ATS ready. ATS will have to filter your CV. What does ATS look at? ATS look at formats. As earlier mentioned, most of the format of the CVs we keep emphasizing in previous webinars is for you to have a CV that's ATS ready. So what does that ATS does? It look for keywords related to that your job description. Mostly you get your job description, and I think there was a time I was telling my mentees that when you are looking for any opportunity, look for just job description. Use your AI. Put those job description. Give a good prompt for it to bring out these are your skills. Tell it your skills to tailor it toward this job description. And you have something. You don't have to carry what AI give you and go there and paste it, but read it through, rephrase it, and improve it. The world has moved and AI is here to stay. So if you learn how to utilize AI in your daily life, then you actually be 1% of the people. those keys, the keywords that you need in your CVs and your cover letters needs to come from the job description. And as we all know, you don't need generic application. Abdul Basir have also mentioned that you don't need to use a single CV throughout your life. If you are using the same CV, the same approach, you keep getting the same result. Give a proper online presence, which is mostly LinkedIn. So, and if you get to pass all these ones, maybe your application has passed, you write an aptitude test, or where they don't do aptitude test, you have been called to for an interview. So you need to look at interview gaps to address. We are going to talk about majorly these 5 things in the next slides. First, as I earlier mentioned, ATS is a software. It decides most of our CVs are being rejected by ATS before anybody will be able to even see it. So what do you need to have a CV that is ATS ready? Submit your CV in a Word format. When you submit your CV in a Word format or a PDF, don't snap pictures and convert them to PDF. Mostly type in a Word document and print as PDF and save it. That will be easier for the software to read. Use a single column layout. You see some people that are designing their CVs as if they are going for a graphic design competition. The ATS is a software. It's not a human being. Might not be able to read it because it's calibrated to read a certain formatting. So, and as you can see on the screen by my right hand side, those are the ATS compatible CVs. It has to be in a document, in a Word document or text-based PDF. Use a single column linear layout. Use standard work experience and skills. Use that key terms. Don't avoid using my career, my expertise. So use key terms like work experience, skills. Then use a common, simple fonts. Don't go and be using fonts that even it will be hard for you to read. You have to stress your eye before you read. Use simple fonts and text only body. Don't use pictures. Avoid using pictures. So a quick thing that you should do today is if you have a CV for a particular document and you have a notepad in your laptop, you can copy that and paste it in a notepad to see if your what the details you have can still be readable in a notepad. You doing that is simply shows you that yes, if notepad will be able to read the content of your CV, there is high probability that the software might be able to read your CV as well. I will not dwell on this. I think Abdul Basit have done justice to CV and resume checklist. And I think previously when we are discussing about scholarship opportunities, they also talk about CV a lot. So your CV should get a simple formatting just as this. Your contact name, your address. If you have a LinkedIn URL, you put, avoid using photos. Then after that one, you can have your professional summary. In your professional summary, you actually professional summary is where you tailor specifically to the job position you are applying. There, you can use a hook and tell why you think you are the best fit for that particular position. Then it will follow by your work experience. Work experience will build on the professional summary on why what you did previously that you think you are the best candidate for that position. Then skills, say your skills, but use relevant skills. Skills has to speak with that particular position. If I work as an auditor for 3 years, but I want to be in procurement, my skills there might not be relevant. Although there are certain skills that might be relevant for me, okay, due diligence, vendor selection. So I can vet vendors and ask for correct document. It's a skill I got as an auditor. But if I said audit experience, I have audit experience, someone might not actually put it in. This is how you fit in as you can be a procurement officer. I have to tell them the person that is reviewing might not be an auditor. Maybe all his life has been in supply chain. So I have to tell him that I have audit experience, and this is how the audit experience I had will help me in this particular role. This is by first I have to know the role I'm applying. I know, okay, I will have vendor management. I can use my audit experience to screen vendors, to ask vendors for documents and be able to review those documents before I onboard those vendors. This is a skill that I have to be the one to tell that person. Don't assume someone knows it all. People that might review your document might be people that doesn't even have experience apart from sorting just documents. So try as much as possible to take time and make sure you tailor everything you are putting into. Don't make sure you read and read and proofread your CV and your letter at least 3 times. If you have somebody that you trust, give it to review it for you before you go, because if a second look at might see something that you will not be able to see. Your education should be simple and straightforward. If you have certificates that are not relevant to your job application, don't put them. Only put those qualifications, those certificates that are relevant to that job you are applying. Um, um, okay, tailoring, we already said this, proofreading and length, it should be 1 or 2 pages maximum. So what are the rejection review model? I came up with 4 R's of rejection review. When you are rejected, as earlier mentioned, you're supposed to use your rejection as a data to go back. When you receive rejection, acknowledge the rejection. Request for feedback where possible. If you cannot get feedback, look for other people. Ask, go online. Ask for a common reasons why you got rejected. Review your application. Check the job description. Am I fit? I At what level were you rejected? Were you able to go up to aptitude test? If it's aptitude test, you might probably do not have up to the required score. If it is interview, that means there is something that you should do better. Then come back, refine. The refining, you should do all these things that we have mentioned. Update your CV, upskill if needed, if you really need that particular position in that particular industry. That means, as earlier, most of you here are early graduate or you are still in university. That means BFS have done a very good thing for you. Some of us get to start learning from our own mistakes. We don't have people to guide us. But you now, you have an opportunity to start researching on the industry you want to be. Abibasa have given us the industry he captured in the slides are the industries that are recruiting. There is no way from January to December you will not see one company from those industries listed that is not employing anybody. So you can start researching on at a minimum of 2 industries that you want to focus on. Look at the common entry roles. People that have applied earlier, what did they do? Look at people that are there. What did they do differently for them to be there? Then try and refine, make a target improvement, and make sure that you know a lot about your employer, more than what or the position you're applying. You should also know your employer. That's the only way the employer might understand that yes, this person knows what he's doing, and you you can add value, because people are looking for, there are certain things that machines can do, but what employers look at these days is thinkers, critical thinkers, people that think outside the box. What can you do differently? What can you change in the system? Not that you are going to, if the company is going downward, you are going to go down with it. So in this slide, if you want to get anything, for each rejection, when you receive rejection, don't take rejection as a verdict. Don't take rejection as a failure from your end, but receive it as an opportunity, a learning opportunity that you should go back, review, refine your processes and your strategies, and reapply. So cover letters and LinkedIn, I will not speak much about them because I think Advasit has done um, a, a good job there. So, but as I mentioned for the CB, your LinkedIn optimization should also be something something that you do not take lightly. First, you should have a professional profile photo. Don't use pictures that somebody might not see you clearly. You, in your headline, you should put your role, core skills, and the industry, so that someone at a glance can know what you can do and what you are. Then in the about section is more like the professional summary that you have in your CV. So your about section can cover that professional summary. You sell yourself, put your skills into, put your skills and achievement into sentences and put them in your about section. Your experiences, you can put your experiences and put a measurable impact in those experiences. Put things that you do, any task, no matter how small it is measurable. Put it as part of your experience. If you have an experience at a volunteer, you volunteer during your university days, don't just say you volunteer there. After you put volunteer at ABC, mention what you do and that as that volunteer and what impact you had in that team. If the only thing you do, you were a very good team player and you help the team, even with your slides, just say it there, put it. You don't know, maybe it will be the game changer for you. So for your skills, for each skills that you have on LinkedIn, try and have at least one person that knows you, that can recommend those skills with you. And make sure you are don't be putting any generic skill. Make sure that if you have a target industry, what are the common skills that is needed in that industry? So make sure you have those skills and request for endorsement of those skills from the people that knows you on LinkedIn. Ask for recommendations. Then on your profile, always put a tag. If you're open to work, it can help people that are searching to see your own first. If you are opportune, you can use premium, but if you cannot afford it, you can continue to use the free model. So as we all mentioned, this is the same thing. Recruiter expectation is expected that you have a tailored professional summary, opening with your value proposition. Don't use generic statement. I'm seeking for a role. No, use something that that can clearly tell what you are and what you can do. So your achievement, that's your content should show strong achievement. Maybe you reduce your processing time, or you reduce the time it takes your team to do A, B, and C by 20%. Time is money in every organization. If you join a team or you volunteer in a team and you are able to do something, it took them 3 days, but when you come with a simple skill, maybe with an Excel document or Excel dashboard, you are able to reduce their time. You save money. In consulting firm, we sell time. That's what they tell us. You have to charge your time because that time is the money. That's the revenue. They sell time. You are selling hours. The hours is take an audit team to audit a company, that's what they are going to charge that company. So try to find a way. It mustn't be reducing this as simple as reducing time it takes to do a particular job. You can tell that story, and it can be a standout point for you. Make sure your experience are relevant to the job role. Use a good spellings, proofread, good formatting. Make sure you have a quality CV. Use dates. Don't put unnecessary, unexplained gap. Maybe you put 2019, you graduated 2019, you do not put anything in between. You now start from 2022. At least find something, even if it is career break, you are learning something. Put it so that someone will see, okay, this is why, although you don't have a job, you are not just sitting idle. This is what you've been doing in that 4 years before now. So put skills that you know at a glance you can be able to show someone that yes, you have that skill. Don't put skill that you know it will take time for you to. If someone should now ask you a simple question about that skill that you said you have, it will now be an issue. So as we all know, for everything you are applying, you should answer a question: why is this relevant to this role at this organization? If you have a good communication skill, why is the good communication skills relevant to the role you are applying in that particular organization? It's not all about you, it's about the value you are adding to the company or your employer. So having said that, you have 60 seconds now. Just think through your head. Did your CV include all the keywords from the job description you applied or you are planning to apply? Was your cover letter tailored specifically to that role and that organization, or is something generic that you just use ChatGPT to get it? Or someone sent you what he used? Maybe you, Muntaka, I beg, send me that your cover letter you use in applying ABC. I'll just send to you, just change your details and send. What works for me in 2022 might not work for you in 2026 because the workforce and the way we do things is moving rapidly. So you have to move with time and make sure whatever you are doing, you personalize it. Then also ask yourself, is your LinkedIn profile complete and up to date? Is this something that with your LinkedIn profile, someone would reach out to you? Because firsthand, I know that when I was in Deloitte, I think I have like 3 people that reach out to me. One is from HR EY Saudi, that he was asking me. The only thing that delayed me that time from going to Saudi, even though I was just associate 2, was because I don't finish ICANN. And first, I don't have accounting background, and I do not finish my ICANN at that time. I think I just finished foundation level. That was the only thing, because it's when I now changed from audit to procurement. That's when I now deleted most of the things I did as an auditor. But I think before now, it was so explicit on my LinkedIn on all the major tasks I did as an associate 1, associate 2, semi-senior, that the person went through my profile and reached out to me if I can come to Saudi, EY Saudi, and take the position role of senior audit associate. But the only problem then was me not having that professional certificate. So what does that tell you? That's to tell you that when you know what you are looking out for, make sure you have the necessary requirements, necessary certifications at hand, that you know the employer of your dream job might need them for the role you think you can fit in, and have them handy. So the next one is strategy on building your application. This one is something that we have taught from the first presentation. First, you do your research, make sure you tailor your application, you apply. When you apply and you are successful, prepare very well for your aptitude test or for your interview. Then if after all that and you are still rejected, then sit back, review, use this opportunity as a learning process to review and refine, so that by next time that you are applying, you'll be one of the best candidates. Although there will be a time that you might be applying for so many jobs, you might not get good response. But I can assure you, if you keep improving yourself, it will come a time that applying for a job will become very simple for you. Very simple. That you will be even be asking yourself that, is it that all the jobs are that easy to get? They are not easy to get. It's just because you improve yourself. Because it's something that I've seen. Between 2021 and 2022, I get over 100 plus thank you emails. We regret to inform you. But somewhere around 2023 to date, I think some emails, I just miss them. That you are shortlisted for this, just because that, okay, at least you are where you are, or you are where you want to be, that you have an opportunity to choose in between jobs. There are people that we came to NMPC with, and those people, I know two people. One went to ExxonMobil and one went to McKinsey. So that's to tell you, no, no matter how competitive, look at how competitive it is to be in NMPC. Over 3 million people clicks the link, 400,000 applications, 43,000 seats for the exams, shortlisted, 11,000 interviewed, employed only 1,000. So for each one person they employed, you have almost like 100 people that apply for the same position you applied. 1,000 plus people that apply for that position, but they selected only you. It takes time. It takes time, but it will come to a place that you will be where some people will think that you cannot be there. It's not because you just wake up and you are there. You've faced rejections, but you do not receive the rejection and now lie down and accept that, yes, I cannot do it, or I'm not good enough. But when you receive a rejection, you sit back, learn. What did I do wrong? What did I miss? Why am I here? So once you are be able to answer this question, I assure you that before you know it, you wake up one day that every job opportunity you apply, you just see that you are being successful. And it's not because you are better than anybody. No, because there are things that you are doing right. Some people might do it wrongly. So I want you to use quality over quantity, tailor each application, research before you apply, network intentionally on LinkedIn, track your application. If you are opportune to be in an interview, use a STAR model in your interview. If someone asks you a question, a situation, set the scene describe the tasks you do in that situation, explain the action you take, and quantify your result. That's what interview. Most of interviews, you think some people go to YouTube, ask interviews, blah, blah, blah. And that's not what your someone will ask you, because the particular thing he's looking out for is different. I can remember my Deloitte interview also. First thing, when they realized I was so nervous, the person smiled and said, "What are you sweating?" I said, "No, sir, I'm not sweating. It's because the weather is so hot and I wear my tie my neck." It was like, I look like as if I'm going to the office. I smiled. So first thing he asked me that I should chill. It's a Saturday. Um, what do I do for fun on weekends? I say, I don't do anything. Say, no, 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 no. It's a bad thing. What do I do? Do I watch football? I say, I watch football. He started asking me what team did I support. So we started from there. And when he saw that I was too comfortable, that's when he started asking me about how did I know about audit, what did I do when I was an auditor general, and the system flows like that. So the same thing with NMPC. During my interview, I was thinking people that did before me, they were thinking, they asked them, when you say you have an experience in Deloitte, like most of my colleagues from Deloitte, they asked you about Deloitte. But when my turn came, they did not ask me about Deloitte. The only time they asked me about Deloitte is, and have I ever worked in a team? And I say, yes, team is just like our working model. I start explaining, and how did you, uh, have you faced any dilemma as a team lead or something? And what did you do in that position? So those kind of question is someone you will be trying to explain. You in your mind you will try to give a perfect answer, but actually they are not looking for a perfect answer. They're just trying to see how do you respond to inevitables. If you do everything right and your boss shouted at you or put you in a position that you cannot do anything, how do you respond? So they will see from there, they can understand whether you are the type that like to complain and put blame on others, or you are someone that takes responsibility of your duties. Eh, Do you take responsibility? If you take responsibility, that means you try everything for you try everything in your power to see that the team succeed, because you'll be a good team player. But if you are someone that likes to blame individuality, when you have a failure in your task, you might likely blame a team member. So the last but not the least, I think the action plan that you should have, you should create a way. If you are applying for anything or you plan to apply, you can give yourself days from after this webinar to see, go through your CV. You can use AI or Google to look at common ATS checklists. Use your CV. Does it see whether your CV is ATS ready? You can optimize it very well. Give someone to look at it for you. Make sure you update your LinkedIn. We don't pray for rejections to happen, but if rejection happen, it's not the end of life, and it doesn't mean that's the end for you. It just means that there is certain things that you need to learn, or God wants to tell you that it's not yet time, that your time will come. For every application you do, record it down. For every rejection you see, review it. And for every interview, debrief it with someone else. Our key takeaways today is that rejections are not verdicts. They are data points that should be an actionable insight for you to improve yourself and improve your job searching strategy. You should also know that recruiters evaluate clarity, relevance, and alignment, which are all within your control. Make sure you have a small targeted improvement. Significantly, it will strengthen every application. Use a strategic, consistent preparation. When you have a strategic and consistent preparation before you do anything, you will see that the outcomes will be good for you. If you prepare for your exams very well, you do not expect the same result with someone that thinks he can do crash reading or you can do TDP, as we said. So you might not be the same. So as we leave today, I will indulge all mentees to see that they have CV checklists, make sure they know what ATS is and they have ATS formatting guide. Make sure your LinkedIn is fully optimized. Make sure you understand what your recruiter expectation is and have your own personal action plan. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much, Mutaka, for that insightful presentation. Jazakumullahu khairan. It was a very engaging presentation. He did justice to the topic. He gave he drew a lot from his own experiences in applying for jobs and responding to rejections. Jazakumullahu khairan for that. So the two sessions have taken us through the complete application journey, from identifying opportunities using some of the platforms that Engineer Abdul Basit shared, submitting applications, and to understanding rejection and continuously improving your application. These sessions remind us that career success is rarely the result of a single application. It's usually the outcome of preparation, persistence, learning, and continuous refinement from all the previous applications you've submitted. So without further ado, we are out of time. We'll move into the Q&A session. I don't see any question in the chat box, though you can raise your hands or drop your question in the chat box. We'll take one or two questions before we take the closing remarks. So we have one question in the chat box from Mustafa Hussein Shehu. He says, many job entries required some years of experience, from 3 to 10 years. How can a fresh graduate cater for that requirement? Must someone spend those years gaining experience before applying for the job? Engineer Abdul Basit, if you're around, would you like to take the question?
Okay. Yes. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Walaikum
Okay.
assalam.
Thank you, Mustafa, for that question. Yes, it is true that many jobs require some experience, but as a fresh graduate, you shouldn't be looking at those jobs. There are numerous jobs in the market that are entry roles. Like I mentioned, my presentation, across industries, be it banking, manufacturing, the oil and gas sector, they all have openings for graduates. So they are always graduate roles. So what could be relevant is maybe saying, or maybe you're not, maybe they're asking for a particular grade. Maybe they're asking for first class or second class upper. But I would say that there are numerous graduates or entry roles across sectors every year, or you probably even find them every month, right? So as a fresh graduate, you shouldn't be looking at jobs that require like some years of experience. These are jobs that are termed as experienced hire. So it is after you have like you've gotten into a job that you should be looking at some of these openings. So that's what I would say about that question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer, for the answer. I'm sure Mustafa is satisfied with the response. We have one more question in the chat box. I think this question will go to Muntaka. It says, I recently applied for internship in a reputable international organization, but I was unfortunately rejected where they made recommendations on ways to improve my CV. So the question is there any need to include referees in your CV?
All right. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. So the question here is whether there is need to include referees. Referees on your CV, I don't think is always been discouraged to put unless it has been requested by your employer. Because mostly, as earlier mentioned, for graduate trainees, if you are a fresh graduate, I don't expect us here to be experienced hires. For experienced hires, that's where reference will be relevant, because you need someone to convince the person employing you that yes, those skills and years of experience you mentioned in your CV are actually accurate and you have all that you said you have. But for graduate trainee and even the experienced higher position you're applying, it's highly recommended that you avoid putting referees unless if it is requested by the employer. I think I will leave it at that.
Yeah, thank you very much for that response. So we have one last question. I think we can take these and then get the closing remarks. This question is from Zinato Adamu Kasim. She says, I'm a student currently in my penultimate year. I don't have experience on anything at all. What can you advise me to do in order to build my CV? Engineer, if you can.
Okay, thank you very much. So I believe that one way, of course, is using your internship. I believe that no matter which course you are, I don't, okay, maybe it could be, okay, I digress. If you are a social science student, it is possible that you do not have, or you do not embark on the service program. Or if you are a science student and you are required to embark on an internship, so an internship would be a great way to have some experience, right? But that's not the only way. You can have volunteer experience if you are in school. Since you are in school, you could join some of these clubs. Like for example, I know that in ABU there's something called Enactus, right? So these are some ways you can gain some experience that you can have in your CV. And of course, we know that for a lot of these graduate roles, it is always expected that, or it's always a requirement that you finish your NYSC, right? So seeing that you have to have done your NYSC before you even apply, your NYSC year is a very critical year in which you can gather some experience, right? And then before you finish your NYSC or right after you have finished your NYSC, you would have gathered some experience, right? So after saying that, I would still say that as a graduate, and for so many of these graduate roles, they do not really require you to have experience so far. For a lot of them, your experience is not really relevant. It's just some of the things that they pick out from your previous experiences. Like it could even be in school, just like Muntaka mentioned earlier, like just something along his leadership roles, right? That just triggered something, like triggered a conversation. So it's just these little things in your CV that may capture attention, but like generally, especially for graduate training roles, it's not really a requirement that you have like is an experience per se. But of course, there are numerous ways that you can build small experiences here and there. Your NYSC, your service internship, your volunteer in school, and the rest. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Engineer Abdul Basit, for the response. Jazakumullahu khairan. Muntaka, I think I saw your hands up. Would you like to add something to what Engineer said?
All right. Yes, thank you. I think for when it comes to experience, but though engineer has already done justice to the question, if you are looking at even from now, if you are a recent graduate, don't dwell as I earlier mentioned. Most of the graduate roles are something that they don't actually need CV. And even if they ask you for a CV, what they are looking out for is not experience, rather is the skills that you have. Those skills are something that it can be as simple as doing something that you do every day. You do research projects for your undergraduate studies, you engage in extracurriculum activities in universities, or some things you volunteer to do during your service year. Those are the things that you can capture. If somebody is doing what you do in your service year, what you do when you are in universities, you put those things. It's the skills that you acquired while you are doing this that the employer is looking out for. And mostly, if you look at graduate roles, they usually specify what they need, maybe 2-1, minimum of 2-1, age, you must have completed NYSC. Once you see that you have all those things in place, you hardly see where they would tell you graduate roles mostly are the roles for people that have 0 to 3 years experience. Because if you have 3 years experience, it assumes you still don't have much experience because you are still in the learning phase in whichever company you are. So 0 to 3 years are still like a trainee role, because some graduate trainees in some companies can do 3 years, the company being investing heavily in them to train. So what I will try to advise you is don't try to push yourself that you must learn and experience. Once you identify the industry you want to venture in after your service year, start building the path to that industry. Make connection with people that are already in those industries now. Start discussing with them. Look at the majorly requirement aside from the degree certificate. What are the other skills? Maybe as a company that if you have, let's say you want to be in a big four, whether PwC, EY, KPMG, or Deloitte, you know that when you have an ICANN or ACTI, it's an advantage for you. It doesn't matter your course of study, but if you have ICANN, you are just 3 steps ahead of your colleagues. So those are the things that you should be looking out. Make sure you have the necessary certifications needed for that role for now, not actually experience. For experience, if you want to write experience, I don't think there is much graduate roles that will dwell more on experience. Rather, make sure you build enough skills, practical skills. If you have opportunity, so that those skills, you don't have to work in a formal organization. Because I remember when I finished, before I started working, I was staying in someone's shop, but my experience in what I do is just like bookkeeping. But in my LinkedIn and my application, I write that I managed financial transactions, even though I do not formally know. But in as more but as more formal I get to do some courses, I get to know that what I was doing customer management. I was also those bookkeeping activities I was doing in that shop, even though they are not formal, but it has given you a skill. So if someone is employing you, where you work, you might work in a company that company is not even recognized. The employer might not check, or the company doesn't have online presence. So your employer cannot directly check them online and see them. And you put them, he might likely perceive that you are lying. So if you are looking for a graduate role, you don't actually need much experience. What you should look out for mostly, not only, even if you get opportunity to have an experience in some way, when you are writing it in your CV or your cover letter, make sure you dwell more on the skills you acquired than the experience you have there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Muntaka, for that response. I think we would close the Q&A session for now. Due to time, we won't be taking any more questions. If you have any question that you need to be answered, you can forward to either me, Engineer Sadis, Abdullah Sani Atiuku, or any of the BFS mentors. Inshallah, I would respond to it promptly. Jazakumullahu khairan to both of the speakers for their time and sharing their experience with us. I would like to hand over to Engineer Salis to give us the closing remark. Engineer Abdullah Sani Atiugu, if you also have something to say after Engineer Salis, you can go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I don't know if I'm audible enough.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, thank you. So, first of all, I would like to sincerely appreciate our speakers for their impactful and wonderful presentation. The session was indeed highly informative and inspiring one. So, but to me, what makes today's session even more special is that both the presenters have contributed directly to where I am today, since we are discussing about job opportunities and other things. So, the first presenter, Engineer Abdulbasid, I can vividly remember he was the one that shared the job advert that led to my current role today. I remember that he told me that, yeah, this company is one of the best one in terms of offering, good opportunities and even pay. He clearly mentioned that, I can remember. So, and alhamdulillah, I applied for the job and passed the aptitude test and moved on to the interview. So, while preparing for the interview, we realized that, okay, it will be helpful if we can speak with someone already working in the organization or someone who worked there exactly. And after we made some inquiries, we reached out to the second speaker, Muntaka, on LinkedIn. Uh, and to our surprise, he responded positively. He shared his contact details and took time out of his video schedule to guide and prepare me for the interview. So, alhamdulillah, I finally got the job, and I'm proud of both the two speakers. So that is why I think I particularly connected with the point Abdul Basit made about networking and reaching out to people who are already where you want to be, because you need to get some informations. Sometimes a simple conversation, a piece of advice or guidance from someone ahead of you can just make a huge difference. Yeah. So I think that's why I found what Al Basit said profound, saying that okay, you need to reach out to someone, and he'll definitely guide you. So you can see he sent me the advert of the job. Muntaka prepared me for the interview because he works there, and he told me, okay, this is what you should do, this is how you should prepare, and that's why I cannot forget that. So once again, on behalf of ZEF BFS, we sincerely appreciate all our presenters for sharing their knowledge and experience with us. And I think all of us here, we have learned something valuable today, and we hope to have the opportunity to host them again in the near future soon, inshallah, because they have a lot to offer for us as far as job search or job hunt is concerned. That's why, and again, what Abdul Basit said, we should, among ourselves, we find okay 5 to 10 people to have a group where they will be discussing about how to search for jobs. I know we have one group that him himself created for us when we are applying for NLNG. Like almost 30 of us, we shared information. Salim is also part of the group. We share past question papers. We solve them, and we discuss everything that is important. And the group is still active now, so we are happy for that. And we believe that you too, among the mentees, especially those who are from the same field, maybe engineering or other fields, can be doing that. That is something which is very important. And also be following pages. As he said, for those in Twitter, they can be following MS Ngawa's page. It is very important that he share yeah, opportunities every day. The opportunities are there actually, and we need to, be checking on them. We are going to be finding many things that are important are there. So thank you all. We believe, inshallah, we'll be inviting them soon. As you can see, both of
Good
them
evening.
are working study with the NMPC, and I believe most of
Sorry
us
for
here.
the
Sorry, someone speaking?
yes, sir. Sir, sorry, I just want to ask one question, and immediately before asking, you've just closed the session for Q&A. I recently applied for this one openings. They call it PWC. So I, they have mailed me for the first stage of assessment, that is through digital learning. Then the second mail, after conducting that assessment, the second mail, they asked us to conduct one small video to showcase our interest for the organization. Then thirdly, recently, they mailed me for one, the third assessment with SHL. So I just want to ask question regarding this thing. I've made my search, but I couldn't find something relevant that for me to just hold on. That PwC, what exactly did they do? What exactly is the company doing? That is just my question, sir. Thank you.
So thank you. I think okay, I'll pass you to respond to that.
I just wanted to point out that Mohammed, it's not right for you to cut the speaker, especially. You should have waited for him to finish and ask
Okay.
whatever you wanted to ask. Right? So please. That was what I wanted to say, Mohammed.
Okay, that's fine, and it was very important So I think we are out of the question and answer, but since you have asked the question, PwC is also part of the Big Four, and I think Muntaka is the best person to respond to this.
We should be, sorry, we should be very careful with time. I respect my time, so he can reach out to me personally. Chat me up, Muhammad.
Okay,
Just
sir, I
take
will
it
do
out.
that, inshallah. Okay, sir, thank you. Sorry.
So we are already late. As I said in conclusion, that we can see so both of the speakers are working with the NMPC, which I believe most of us want to be working there. So those who are their mentors can reach out for other informations. Even if you are not their mentees, you can just reach out to them on Teams if you have any question, inshallah. So inshallah, Sana Atiku will be closing. I will be adding something and be closing the uh, session, inshallah. And he will be doing the closing prayers after he make his remark. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Engineer, thank you very much. I don't have anything to say actually. We are already late. Just thank you all for your time and participation. We look forward to seeing you, inshallah, in our future programs. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. I think we don't need to call anyone for the closing prayers. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayka. I think Madam Muntaka will be sending his slide. People are in need of the slide. I believe he will be dropping the slide here with us. And the meeting is recorded, and inshallah we'll be uploading it on our YouTube channel. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.